Sure, we haven't had Sauvignon Blanc for a while.
Are you going to come in the video?
Goeienaand en welkom nog een keer Kwarantynwyn in die tuin, saam met Elaine. For tonight, we got our hands on a little bottle of the Steenberg Sauvignon Blanc 2019. Now, being from Durbanville and in the northern suburbs, it's almost sacrilege drinking a Sauvignon Blanc this old. Over here in this part, it's very common for people to drink it in the year that it's made. Unfortunately, I like mine a little bit older.
Yes.
Also, I do find that Sauvignon Blancs, especially from cooler regions, always benefit from a little bit of time in the bottle as well, whether it be Hermanus, Cape Agulhas side, Constantia, where we are today.
Well, if it was up to me, all Sauvignon Blancs would be aged.
So
Because I don't like young Sauvignon Blancs.
it tends to be a bit wild and a bit acidic on
It
that
tends
side
to,
when
it
it's
tends
very
to hit you
in the jaw.
in the jaw. Yeah.
Well, anyway, for today, we do have the Steenberg Sauvignon Blanc 2019. Now, those of you who don't know where Steenberg is located on the Steenberg Mountain, basically at the foot of the Helshoogte Pass. It's the little pass that you take over the mountain before you get to...
Helshoogte?
Ach, genade man, not Helshoogte.
Genade. Constantia.
Kaapse weg, sorry.
There you go,
I'm
yeah.
so used to being stuck in Stellenbosch that I forget where I am. So, sorry, disregard Helshoogte. Kaapse weg.
Yes.
It's that little road you take over the mountain before you get to Noordhoek.
It's technically Constantia.
It is Constantia, well, it is Constantia
Yes.
till you're over the mountain, then it's not Constantia.
Yes.
Now, Steenberg is one of the oldest farms in South Africa. It was actually demarcated as a farm in the 1680s already, or 1660s, I think, actually, already.
No, it was 1680.
I think it became property of Katharina Russ in 1680 finally, and she was allowed to plow and work the land
Right, okay.
in that time. But it wasn't, I think, until the next owner before they actually made wine on Steenberg. Steenberg falls basically under a bit of a cooler climate there in Constantia, which is to me absolutely fantastic for grape varieties like Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon. That is my two favorite varieties coming out from that area. But they do play around with a little bit more. There is some Chardonnay, there is some Merlot on Steenberg. But also what makes interesting, Steenberg really interesting is one of my other favorite wines, who hopefully will do as well, is the Steenberg Nebbiolo. But a lot more on that later. We're not on that now.
Yes.
So the Sauvignon Blanc we have here,
This is divine.
see, that's what a bit of time does.
Oh, my soul.
Beautiful, but also cool climate. I still think, and you can shoot me in the comments, Sauvignon Blanc shouldn't be made in warmer regions. The cooler regions really help. Well, I shouldn't say shouldn't, it's just you get a completely different Sauvignon Blanc from the warmer side. If you were to go to warmer areas like Stellenbosch, which makes a lot of Sauvignon Blanc, the flavor profile is a lot more tropical on that side. So it's a little bit more guava, passion fruit, melon. If you go to the cooler areas, Constantia, Cape Agulhas, Hermanus, that side, you get a little more grassiness. Grass,
Yes.
green pepper, bell pepper, capsicum, almost that salinity of, almost want to say capers, but not as salty.
There's definitely a green melon in here.
No, definitely. The flavor.
They put
not,
a green melon in this
no,
one.
they don't. There were people who got in trouble for green pepper stuff years ago, but we won't talk about that.
What do you mean?
They put green pepper essence in the wine to make it taste more like green pepper, which is
Really?
illegal. Not allowed to add any flavorants to your wine.
No, I was joking, guys. That was a joke. I didn't know that people actually did do that.
Now these wines or grapes are harvested, machine harvested. They start actually 2 o'clock in the mornings on harvest day, actually to get the grapes in as cool as possible to retain the freshness and the natural acidity, of course, of the wines. It gets crushed, macerated for up to 24 hours, and then basically let the wine settle overnight, and they rack it clean. Off that, it gets inoculated with yeast, and then they allow it to ferment for anything between a month to 3 months, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry, Elunda, gonna kill me. Winemaker is Elunda Basson. She joined Steenberg in 2019 after she took over the reins from JD Pretorius, who's been there for quite a number of years. I think I met JD around about 2007. And at that time, the cellar master was John Lopeshaw, who now makes wines at Silverthorn, his own little label focusing on bubbly as well. JD today is at Warwick in Stellenbosch.
That's right.
Now, Elunda, new to me, I've only met her once, and it was when I was fortunate enough to be invited to a beautiful game of golf there on a Steenberg Classic. Not my best game, but
His
fantastic.
favorite days, though.
Favorite day, but not my best game.
He doesn't mind when he plays bad golf, he just wants to play golf.
Exactly. So I met Elunda that day, and she spent quite a few years before Steenberg actually making Cup Classique as well. Big lover of Cup Classique, spent her time and cut her teeth with Nederburg, Pongratz, as well as JC Leroux, and also did a stint for a few years at Rickety Bridge in Franschhoek. So it brings a wealth of knowledge also to Steenberg, and I think the Grahambek Enterprises, who now own Steenberg today, is quite happy because they are, to me, still seen as probably one of the leaders of MCC in South Africa.
That's right, yeah.
So a beautiful dry white wine
Oh, it's
that we actually have in the glass, quite mineral. There is a flintiness. Now flint is like when you rub
Yes.
two stones next to each other and you have that little bit of
Yes,
smell
is it
to
a
it.
flinty there? Yeah.
It has that. It's got a bit of green pepper to it, but it's not overly green pepper. There is some melon. There is some fruit
I don't
as
know
well.
whether it's just me, but or maybe it's just my palate, but I get quite a strong green melon, which is divine. I mean, you know
It's
me.
beautiful.
I love my melons.
The wine is. That's not going to go down well. The wine has got some beautiful fruit, but it's not sweet. Although the initial taste, the mind gets tricked when you get quite a lot of fruit flavors, that you perceive it almost as slightly sweeter than what it really is.
Yeah.
The acid is beautifully balanced.
Yes, it is.
And there's, funny enough, a nice richness on the palate once again, which doesn't make it watery and thin in the middle. It coats the mouth. We're talking a lot, and the flavor just stays,
Yes.
which is what I really like.
What would you pair it with?
Oh, a beautiful summer's day. But since we're out of summer's days at the moment, we might have to go for something else. Lunch, once again, it is beautiful enough to stand on its own. You really don't need anything with it. But with a nice little charcuterie platter, you start that off at
Yes.
lunchtime.
But it's also worth mentioning that a wine can stand alone, hey? It is worth mentioning
Oh.
that.
Some seared scallops, which I haven't had in a very, very long time, would be absolutely delicious. Mostly lighter seafood dishes, I would say. I wouldn't go for the heavy cream-based dishes.
Yeah.
Think of something that might need a bit of acid or has a bit of acid in the food that you're going to eat, so the bit of acid in the wine balances, but you want the fruit from the wine to come and stand out as well. So you don't want to overpower it with heavy, creamy, buttery foods, because it's just going to coat the palate and it's going to hide the wine, and you're going to sit with, oh, this wine doesn't taste of anything, when it's not really the case.
Okay.
So I just want to say to the guys there at Steenberg,
Yes.
thank you very much for the
guys.
wine. Please continue making this, because
This is
Elaine and I
lovely.
drink far too much Chardonnay in this house.
Which is my fault.
This is a nice change.
This is outstanding. Hey? I mean, I don't really drink Sauvignon Blanc, to be honest, but this is really outstanding.
So there you have it. Steenberg
Yes.
Sauvignon Blanc. This is from their flagship range, I think, or estate range. I don't know. There's too many ranges, guys. I really don't know. But it is. They also have a more entry-level Sauvignon Blanc called Rattlesnake, if I'm not mistaken. So this is just that one tier up. So I take a little bit of the nicer
Yes.
batches that came through. And what we didn't mention is this is actually made from quite a few different parcels on the estate itself.
Oh, yes.
To actually,
That's an interesting story.
because different parcels and different sites, so different blocks of Sauvignon Blanc on the farm, each block will have its own little attribute and flavor that will give to the end product of the wine. Because
And it's because of the aspects of the slopes.
yes,
eh?
it's exactly how it's, I guess, angled towards the sun and the wind. And one block is always warmer than the other block with a couple of more degrees. And the warmer ones will probably give you more tropical fruit flavors, where the cooler ones will go a bit more to that flinty, mineral, green pepper side. And then, of course, once you have them as individual parcels, you can blend them to give you a final product. So it's a bit like it's like a recipe in food, man. It's
Yes.
just
Very
make it
clever.
up, not make it up as you go along, but you blend.
Yes.
And it's the art of winemaking. A lot of time is in the
Very
blending
clever.
as well.
And I do love that artistic side of winemaking. I just find it so interesting. Anyway.
Well, that is it from us here at Kwarantynwyn. Guys at Steenberg, thank you very much. Please continue with the good work, and we will be there to support you very soon.
Yes.
Stay safe. Cheers.
Cheers.